We're live. Welcome to the Diren Kartal show.
Okay, guys, welcome to episode 39. And today I've got Chris Tibbetts with me. What's going on, Chris?
No, really good to be here. Thanks very much, Darren. Good to talk to you, buddy.
Not a problem. Okay, so I'm quickly going to talk to everyone about you, right? Mm-hmm. And Chris is here. Number one, Paul Mort was like, he sent me a message. He was like, Darren, you need to hear this guy's story. Chris has lost over 100 kilos, right? And I know you've, Paul Mort was telling me how you've took the Neat Up 24/7 thing and to your journey and it helped you out. And I really wanted to hear, number one, how that's helped you out. And number two, I want to know what the fuck it's like to lose 100 kilos, because that's a life-changing transformation, you know? And I think you can actually help inspire a lot of people with that, especially people listening to this. I know there's a lot of people that are always like holding back with trying to make a change. And I feel like you could be that line where you could like get them to cross over, if that makes sense. So how you doing?
Really good. Busy like you. Sort of getting into the throes of becoming a coach and changing my transition from being Mr. Corporate World into being a transformation coach. So yeah, it's just busy learning new things.
Good. That's a good thing. It's always good to be learning. What I'm going to ask you is what I ask everyone. All right. And this gives me an indication of what you like, big man. All right. Yeah. What is your Nando's order?
It has to be butterfly chicken, the hottest one they do.
Okay, that's amazing. What was it when you were 100 kg plus? When you were
about 5 of them.
Oh, really? I bet. So you were 33 stone, right?
Yeah.
Which is 210
kilos, yeah. Give or take, yeah.
Okay, so how old are you right now?
49 in February, 48.
Okay, and how old were you when you were 200 kilos?
I was 39.
Oh, so this is recent.
Yeah.
And so all your life leading up to that, were you pretty overweight, or
yeah,
tell me a bit about that. Yeah, tell me a bit about that.
So it's sort of like I'd always been big. So I think 12, I was 6 foot. So I've always been a big fella.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, obviously when you're in the teenage years, you burn, fat. It doesn't matter what you eat, never put on. I was quite active, played rugby, did all the team sports, so it didn't really affect me that much. And then obviously I tore my ACL when I was sort of like 17.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, I stopped playing sport every day, and then my eating didn't have an outlet, so I just started putting weight on.
Yeah. And
then throughout my sort of 20s, I would put weight on, get big, then go, I need to lose a bit of weight. So I'd drop some weight, but then I'd always put it back on again because, I had this underlying issue that just was always big. So I've always been quite big throughout my 20s and 30s. Yeah. But then towards the middle part, I just put more and more weight on. I just couldn't see up. I'd always been around sort of 20, 22 stone. But then from about 35, I just blew.
Did it get to a point where you were like, until that point, were you like, fuck it, who cares? I'm just going to eat everything I can.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And to be honest, it was always I used it as a sort of barrier. They always talk about the jolly. I was always called Big Lad, because I was tall, but I was always Big Lad. And it was my way of protecting myself because, I knew people laughed and I knew people, used to sort of like, call me all the names either to my face or behind my back. And at one time in my career, I used to be a train manager for, it was GNR at the moment, East Coast Trains.
Okay.
And it's big like then you're walking up the train and everyone's jollying that until you go, you haven't got a ticket, mate. And then you get called all the names under the sun, all around your weight. So I sort of use that, but so I just use my size as I'll use it as a barrier. And the fatter I got, the more insular I got. And I sort of laughed and joked and I was always the jolly bloke. But, I knew deep down that I wasn't happy. And at the period of time I was in, I was in a really, I've been married. I married young, had kids young, and I was in a really toxic relationship, and that didn't help because my solace was food. And to be honest, I see that now when I look at my children when they were younger and everything else, is that it was around food. And my wife, my first wife at the time, she was a feeder as well.
Okay.
Because I'd lose weight really quite successfully and look good, and then she's like, no, I'm not having that. So we get fed.
Yeah.
And then
Do you find that people around you, when you were trying to make an effort, were battling you so you don't so you're maintaining that shape to
absolutely
make themselves feel better?
Yeah, absolutely. Didn't want you to lose weight. Didn't want, in my very small bubble I had of my, my wife at the time definitely didn't want me to lose weight. Didn't want to, because then it reflect on her and reflect on that I could look elsewhere, or I could finally realize I'm not happy.
Yeah.
And I wasn't happy. I was deeply unhappy. But and it wasn't until I got to that point of going, I think I shared the photo with you, didn't I, on the Emirates first class. Luckily, I could afford to fly it because I wouldn't have been able to get in the standard seat.
Okay, I was gonna say. So I'm actually looking at that picture now. I screenshotted it from my phone. There's one of you in a lounge with a Corona and a glass of wine, and then the other one is I'm assuming you're on the A380 upstairs, right? Getting a drink at the bar. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, number one, was he forced to get that ticket, or could he afford it and he chose to? Because if you wouldn't be able to sit in a normal seat, right?
No. I remember when I went to South Africa once, and I wasn't even as that big then. I was on my journey of getting bigger, and I flew Emirates to Joburg, which was fine, but then I had to fly down to Cape Town. And I had to fly in an ordinary plane in an economy seat, and it was horrific. And eventually, the crew actually took pity on me and moved me into business class.
Oh, really?
Well, it was really embarrassing. I think everyone. You talk about spread on a normal flight. Even slim people spread, but I was like just wedged in the seat. It was horrific. And at that point, I think even that wasn't a trick enough for me, Diren. That didn't make me go. I just thought, well, do you know what? I can afford it. I'll book business class next time.
Were you? Are you comfortable with talking about all of this? Because
of course, absolutely, mate.
Cool.
This is my journey now. This is.
Yeah. Okay, good. So when you were say walking onto the plane, right? Walking onto the flight, do you feel like, because I feel like this happens to me, I feel like it happens to everyone. When you get on a flight, right? That little corridor, you feel like everyone's watching you. It's a bit like a catwalk, right?
Yeah.
When you were doing that at that point, were you feeling anxious at all about anything? Or were you like, you know what, I've just accepted the fact that I'm this size? Or did you have embarrassment? How were you feeling at that point?
Diren, the worst, this is how bad it was for me, right? I actually went and bought my own seat extender, so I didn't have to have the embarrassment of asking the crew.
Okay.
Right. And whenever I flew into like a EasyJet or Ryanair flight, you could guarantee you'd get on the plane and everyone's looking up going, oh, fuck, I hope he's not going to sit next to me.
Oh, fuck, that must be horrible.
And you're just like hoping, is there a row there? Is there a row there? And you almost... please don't be busy, flight. Please don't be busy. And there were some times, to be honest, if the flight was quite cheap, I would buy 2 seats.
Okay.
Just so I knew the seat next to me would be empty.
Yeah.
And that wasn't for my own. That was because didn't want to be an embarrassment to other people.
Yeah, you didn't want to make other people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. And that's why I did. And it's horrible. Back now and like you asked if I was comfortable talking about it. I am comfortable talking about it because I think it's important that people out there who are in this situation realize that you can make a change. And if you don't talk about it, what happens is you get to that size I was, and you get to that state of wanting to, you can't see a way forward and you want to end it all. And you don't think you can do this. And I think it's really important that by having this opportunity to speak to you today, and obviously people you listen to your podcast, we can get a message out there and we can actually start helping people.
Yeah, of course.
That's why I love your Neat Up 24/7, because to be honest, like we said, when I was 33 stone, right, the only thing I could do was walk.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. And so, because it's mad, because a lot of people, I think there's also the pressure of people thinking that if you're really overweight and if you need to make a change, you need to be in the gym, when realistically, it's all the other habits that you need to fix, right? And to be fair, you probably lost a bit of weight doing Neat Up 24/7 and all the other habits that you grow, and then maybe got comfortable enough to go into the gym, right? Now, leading up to that point where you got to the biggest size that you were, right?
Yeah.
Well, I still can't believe losing 100 kilos is fucking crazy, mate.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, it's amazing. So well done on that, number one. Yeah. And secondly, reaching up to that point, you said you were in a corporate job, right? Did you like your job?
At the point I was getting heavier and heavier, no, I didn't. I was...
you wasn't happy with your job. You wasn't happy with your job.
At that point, when I was at that size, 2011, between 2009 and 2011, I was running my own company. And I had a management consultancy. And after the Lehman's crash, basically all of my business dried up. So I had to be a bit creative. So I went out to work in China and worked on import export for a company in China.
Yeah.
And hence why I could afford to fly business class and first class Emirates, because I was a platinum member, because I was literally flying every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks.
Okay.
So, but was I happy? No, absolutely. I was really unhappy.
Yeah.
And
you were earning good cash, right? Like you were earning, yeah. And it's funny.
Cash.
And it's funny because like a lot of people think, make the cash, eat this, do that. But when really, like, as cringe as this might sound, but it's quite relevant, is like, wealth is being healthy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. That point I got to, being really healthy, being really unhealthy lifestyle. And I used to kid myself, because guess what? And China was the worst place for me, because you're big and they're all like, and everyone's really nice and really polite and really friendly, and you're big and you're strong. It's like, no, I'm just fat. I'm not strong. Yes, I'm about 5 times. I'm 5 of you, but I am not. And they're always very gracious and everything else. But it just wasn't happy.
But you know what? Like, I think culture in like Western society, everything is based around alcohol and food. Whereas, like, you go to places like China. You go to places that are countries that are poorer, you see people that are more grateful for smaller things, right? Yeah. So a lot of people would have just been grateful to have a conversation with you. You might have been the first white guy they've spoken to, you know? And I feel like in our society and everything that we do is all the rewards that we talk about is food and alcohol. And no one ever calculates the other reward. We work from Monday to Friday for the weekend. We don't think about, like, I work every day and I love it. I love what I do. So I don't even see it as work. And I feel like if people kind of try to search for that, I honestly think their health, as well as their financial situation and their relationships with people around them, will be like so much better. Right?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
So you made that switch at what age?
So that was 39. So basically what happened was, after that trip to Dubai, I started to struggle. And it was interesting. On that trip, I was with my business partner at the time, and for some reason, the hotel messed up, so we had to share rooms. Even though you imagine Dubai, the hotels are quite big anyway, but it was still we still shared a room.
Yeah.
And he went, "Okay, Tibbsy, you make a racket at night." I went, "What, snoring?" He went, "No, mate, no. I thought you were dying, because I was like,
shit.
It was like I used to make like a zombie noise because of the weight, the pressure on my chest. I never snored, but I made this weight. I was like, really? He went, yeah. And he recorded me. And he went, listen, mate, that was a noise. I went, shit, okay. So I sort of went back and I went, okay, I need to go and see a doctor. So I went to go and see a doctor. And he sort of said to me, he just sat down. He said, can you make an appointment? Okay, go and do it. He says, jump on the scales. And I went, okay. And basically I bust them.
No.
Yeah. And he
really?
Went, yeah. And he went, okay, right. So I think we need to send you to the hospital to get yourself weighed. Or jokingly says there's a wool merchant around the bottom. You can go on the weigh bridge there and get yourself weighed, because I think that should be just about heavy enough for you.
Oh my God.
So he said, and if you go into hospital to get weighed, you might have all your tests there. So I said, okay, no problem. So went to the hospital, got weighed, and I deliberately didn't look to see what I weighed, because I was just, scared. I knew I was going to be more than 25 stone, because that's what the thing went up to.
Okay, yeah.
And I thought, right, okay, that's no good for me. So I then thought, okay, so I had all the tests, I had blood tests and other things. And it was interesting, because when he was looking at me, he's like going, how old are you? 39, 40. He says, I says, I don't think you're going to, I'll be very surprised if you see 50. I was like, oh, okay.
Fuck.
I went, fine. And he said, but come back in a week. We'll have the results. So I made an appointment, came back in a week. And it was interesting because when I went in the second time, there was a chair there. Remember Jeremy Kyle's show? They used to have the big chairs for the
Yeah.
There was one of those in the room.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't there before. So he prepared for it.
Okay,
he said, take a seat. I went, okay. And he said, I said, and it was interesting because I knew quite well. He said, Tibbsy. I said, right, okay. He says, I said, I don't think you'll make 50. I went, yeah. He says, I don't think you'll see 40, to be fair. I went,
shit.
What? He goes, no, I don't think you'll see 40. He says, your cholesterol is ridiculous. Your blood pressure is ridiculous. In fact, how you haven't had a stroke yet, don't know. Cholesterol is ridiculous. You're borderline diabetic, and God knows how you're not diabetic. He says, you're a bit of a medical phenomenon why you haven't got these complaints, but they are almost there. And then he says, and the weight and pressure on your chest, he says, you're going to die in your sleep.
Oh, fuck.
So
did that scare you? That must have scared you.
It mortified me.
Okay.
It mortified me. Sent me a little bit of a spiral, but then, okay, that's fine. So at that point then I thought, right, I need to do something. And I thought in my head, I've lost weight before, it's fine. But I'd never seen myself that bad. I never had those fears. So I went, okay, that's fine. Make a plan. So I sort of kicked a plan into action of sort of just traditional. I used to have a go-to for dropping weight, to go to real strict, didn't know at the time, calorie deficit.
Yeah.
But basically I just go, right, I'll eat tuna fish and mashed potatoes. I'll eat cornflakes for breakfast, tuna fish and mashed potatoes, and I'll have fruit. And that's all I'd eat. Right. And that was great. And it was good at dropping weight. And then I realized that's not going to work. So I thought, right, I went to see a nutritionist with the doctors. It was helpful. They said, well, you need to get more exercise and we'll go and take you to a gym. I'm like, I'm not going to a gym at this size.
Oh, see, that's so stupid. To me, that sounds like ridiculous from a professional like that. It's like, how can you tell someone with that sort of emotion, right?
Yeah.
Tell him to go to the gym. The doctor just said he can you can die in your sleep. Yeah. You obviously feel like shit and you're embarrassed about it. I know what will help. Go to the fucking gym where all the bodybuilders are and everyone that's fit. That will make you feel better. Like, it's ridiculous.
It
right?
is.
And it just shows like some people that are in those sort of professions, they have no emotional intelligence to actually assess how you're feeling, which drives me fucking crazy. I'm like, how could you even say that to them? Yeah, carry on.
And I think you're right, mate. And that's the problem. That's what drove me. And it was really, so I thought, okay, I need to change it. So I thought, I then also managed to secure a contract doing something I love. So I went back from being unhappy doing this traveling, China backwards and forwards. I had a break from that. So I thought, okay, got a job in London working on a rail bid as a consultant, which was great. I started to lose a bit of weight. And then a couple of months into that, I then realized that actually I've got issues and that my surroundings, because I'd got away and I was in London, I realized that my surroundings were making me really unhappy. And I was in this, toxic relationship at the time, which was really bad. And I had that freedom. So I thought, right, okay, I need to do something. I started to lose weight really well. I think I'd lost, I was being that size. If you start moving more and eating less, it drops off.
Yeah.
Really easily.
Yeah.
So, and I went to London and I thought, okay, I'd lost some weight. I felt more comfortable. I thought, okay, I can go back to the gym.
Yeah.
Found a personal trainer, which was great. But then I also realized, right, I'm going to live in London now. Okay. I'm going to completely change my surroundings. So I moved to London, left my wife, left kids, and got into this routine, had a personal trainer, and I was starting to feel really good about myself. What I hadn't done is addressed my eating.
Yeah.
I was focused on that word diet. So it was on a diet. I'm going to, I'm not going to drink. I'm not going to do this. And basically, I just restricted all the things out of my life. And it became very, very boring.
Yeah.
It did the job, but didn't fix things. So around sort of February time, March time, I sort of met my current wife, Carmen. We were childhood. She was my first love in high school.
Okay.
And then she dumped me, broke my heart. So we got back together. That all changed my life. So I found some more happiness.
Yeah.
Which really made a big difference. So mentally, I was in a good place. I had a supportive partner at the time. But then I lost probably my first thing. I would have lost. Yeah, I went down to about 18 stone, so I lost 15 stone.
Shit.
In my first time, my first attempt.
That's very good. And when you did that, did you have any knowledge on energy balance, or was it just no?
It was just really, and like I said, if you and James had been around 9 years ago, I probably wouldn't have gone to where I went to.
But see, this is the crazy thing. I was going to say that when you were in your 20s, fitness and the information that there was not enough information out there. Now, thanks to social media, all of that stuff, we have access to everything, right? So, of course, that would have made a huge difference as well. So you lost the 15 stone.
Yeah.
And then did you come to a little store or?
Came to the store, got comfortable, Diren, and I slipped back. I didn't slip back into the old ways because I was with Carmen now, and she's different, and she wasn't here, but I hadn't resolved my mental issues around food. So I would sort of like still be the one, if there's some biscuits there, I'd eat the biscuits. If there was something on the plate, I'd eat the leftovers on the plate. I'd always, if there was something left on, we had a sharing platter, I'd always finish the platter. So I was still eating too much. I sort of went, I've been to the gym now. I don't need to keep going to the gym. And I sort of stopped. I thought, I can go on my own. I'll have the motivation to go on my own. And I sort of stopped doing that. And then work got a little bit busier and I got a bit stressed. And gradually the weight sort of creeped back up. I think probably I got remarried in sort of 2013. And the weight creeped back up to sort of like 24 stone. But because I've been so big, it didn't feel that bad.
Yeah, you kept comparing it to that situation until instead of kind of comparing it to where you should be, to actually be in a healthy position.
And as I'd lost weight, I made the mistake of keeping. I was sort of replacing clothes on a sort of couple of months basis, and I kept some of the older clothes. Yeah. So when this pair of jeans stopped fitting me, I'll put those back on. So that I didn't really notice that. And I was putting weight on. And then we got married. And then Carmen before I got married, she went to go to a suit fitting, went, this is a bit tight. So basically I got personal trainer back again. Yeah. 2 months, blitzed it, dropped weight down, went back down to 18 stone really quickly. And it was really easy to do because discipline. Yeah. I had the motivation, not the discipline. That was it. And then again, for about a year, 2 years, I balanced and I just gradually put weight on again. Got contented. Yeah. Got stressed, overate. And it was like a yo-yo. So, I always look at, if I put a trajectory of my weight loss over the first 6 years of my journey, it was still a downward trend. Yeah. But it was spikes in that.
But you know what?
Actually addressed those issues.
I think that's normal. I think we all have that, not only physically but mentally as well. Yeah. We have moments where we're focused, we're driven. We have these cycles where we're consistent, and then you might have a week where you kind of feel shit, Yeah. And I think that's normal. But the overall and the important thing is that you haven't yet reached your destination. Mm. You might have been going there a little bit slower than what you could have, but at the end of the day, you work towards it. Was a lot of your eating, I'm sure it was, based around eating because maybe you're feeling emotional or whatnot. And
absolutely.
How did you take control of that? What did you focus on something else? What did you do?
So I've always been, I can always track it back to being an emotional eater and back to trauma in my life that started it. And I've probably been an emotional eater since I was about 10 years old. Okay. So, and I can trace it back to there through the work I've done. But I think for me, what the biggest change I had was after sort of in 2017, I had it was a breakdown. Plain and simple. Work was ridiculous. And what happens? I went to Starbucks. I used to have this habit of just going to a random town to work and go to a Starbucks just to change my state and change location because it was quite interesting. Okay. I went to a place called Shrewsbury and went to a Starbucks and I sat there, ordered a caramel macchiato and 2 cinnamon swirls. Why? But I did. Yeah. 3 hours later, I'm sat there, cinnamon swirls have been eaten, coffee's empty, but I can't remember what happened those 3 hours.
Really?
Yeah. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you what happened those 3 hours.
Really?
So I knew I had a problem.
Okay. All
So
right.
I knew there was an issue. So again, spoke to work at the time, and my boss was really understanding, and HR, they're really good. And I realized I was on the edge of a breakdown. And then I also realized that I went to an award ceremony, and there was a picture of kids after one award, photo taken. And I saw the photograph, and okay, it's not as bad as the one on the airplane, but that guy is looking back at me.
Okay, yeah.
And I realized at that point, I went home, went to Carmen, I broke down in tears, and I went, that person I thought had gone is back.
Okay, yeah. Does it haunt you sometimes? Do you ever get worried? Do you ever get worried like now that guy, that person might come back, or you feel
every day is a struggle. Every day is a battle. Because what was interesting is at that point when that happened, I was speaking to a good friend of mine, Ruth, and she was like talking about it, and she says, I think you have got a problem, and she had issues in the past on different addictions and stuff. And she says, you seem to have this personality that you almost self-sabotage, you almost want to destroy things, right? And she says, why don't you try Overeaters Anonymous? I was like going, never heard of it. Never heard of Overeaters Anonymous, hadn't heard of it. So I Googled it, looked it up, and I can credit them with saving my life.
Okay, cool.
Because at that point, I realized I had an eating disorder. In fact, I was an overeater. And it's not, everyone can eat a little bit, but I had a problem.
Yeah.
And I tried to sort the traditional therapy route, escape from the Priory because I couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
And it's like you were saying about doctors, no disrespect to any therapist, psychologist, anything else, but sometimes when you're in a room, and they are talking pure theory, pure practical, not they've never walked in your shoes, they've never been in that situation.
Yeah,
it's all theoretical.
Yeah. They can't relate to you. They can't relate to what you're saying. So that's why it's like, it's sometimes weird. It's sometimes nicer chatting to a stranger, like a normal person that doesn't have that knowledge. Do you know what I mean? Because everything, I feel like, and people that go see therapy and all that, whatever, do what's best for you. I've never done it yet. Not yet. I probably fucking need to, but like, I find it difficult to understand how someone is thinking so deep into every word that I'm saying that they're going to be overcritical about everything. Do you know what I mean? I could say one sentence, and out of that one sentence, there's multiple outcomes that they're thinking of. And I'm thinking, they just shoot something and then go like, so do you think, and I'm thinking, I don't fucking know. I don't know why. Do you know what I mean? Like, probably like this conversation could go anywhere right now. So like, do I have a problem? Do I not? Talking to someone, I think definitely helps. But I just think people, it's like for your doctor, for example, he gave you a level of tough love, right? Yeah. Did he gave you that after he got to know you?
He sort of knew me already. So he could have said that. I'm sure if I'd been a normal patient, his response would have been slightly different. Exactly.
And if you went to someone else that didn't know you, if they turned around and said that, you probably wouldn't have respected their opinion. Right. Yeah. So you probably needed that tough love, and do you think that tough love was number one necessary for you? And do you think that fear that you have, that old guy coming back sometimes, do you think that holds you accountable, or does it stress you out?
No, definitely holds me accountable. Definitely, and what I have to do, because I've gone through the whole anonymous program, and it's very similar to gamblers, narcotics, and alcohol, is that you follow the 12 steps. I am an overeater, right? My biggest fear is relapse. Now, I'm lucky in the fact that I'm making myself accountable. So one of the things that's been interesting to be part of Paul's group, right, is accountability. Because in a group of people, you are held accountable. Yeah, you can put weight on, and I can, and I have, and I know that in 2019 I put 20 kilos on because I was really in an unhealthy place. I forgot about everything I'd learned, forgot about all my training. What I didn't do is regress to emotional eating. I just didn't exercise, and I didn't watch my calorie intake.
Yeah, you knew what was happening. That's the difference. That's the biggest difference with people that have no idea. Because that's probably why you ended up like that in the beginning. You probably didn't realize how simple it is when you actually look into it, you know?
Yeah, it is ridiculously simple. I think, you know, one of the benefits I had, you know, working through the program was understanding the things about trigger foods, or something emotional eating. I'm an emotional eater, you know, not anymore, thankfully.
Yeah.
But it's never far away.
Yeah.
And there are things I know in terms of trigger foods that you know I will desperately avoid, because I have no control over them when I eat them.
Yeah, I hear you. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When you were at your biggest, how many calories do you think you were having a day?
I would have been smashing 5,000 probably.
Easy. Could you give me an example? Tell me what you would have had on a normal day at work, like you going to work, dinner. What would you be having in a day?
So what I would have done: breakfast. If I've been traveling or been away, breakfast would have been a full English breakfast, easily. Mid morning, I would have had a full fat caramel macchiato and a cinnamon swirl, so there's another 1,000 calories. Lunchtime would have been, you know, a sandwich or a pie or a cake, or, you know, something, you know, Tesco's deal.
Yeah.
And then evening, you know, depends where I was staying, but quite often I used to get KFC boneless boxes all to myself.
Yeah.
Smash one of them.
Yeah. Like,
yeah,
it's
or big pizza.
Yeah. Anything like that, just easy. No problems.
Easy. No idea of nutrition, no idea what I eat, you know. And I think, you know, my worst, you know, I say to people about being amateurs and eating, you know, and I was saying to Jack, my PT, this morning, we were talking about burgers, and I said, my record for double cheeseburgers at McDonald's is 19.
Oh my God! No way! Hey, let's be honest though, McDonald's double cheeseburgers are good.
They are good, mate.
They're good. They're so dangerous.
And he says, "Why didn't you get to 20?" And I said, "Because they wouldn't serve us another one."
No. So wait, did you get this when you were at McDonald's, or was it like an Uber Eats thing?
No, it was at McDonald's. We sat there, and basically the manager came over and says, "Would you guys mind leaving now?" I went, "Why?" He says, "Why are you putting everyone off?" I went, "Why?" He said, "Because you sat there, all of you eating a mini McDonald's." And I'm like, "Oh, all right then." I said, "Can I get another one for 20?" He went, "No, you got to leave." So I got ejected out of Mackie D's as well.
Hey, okay, Chris, if you're getting rejected out of McDonald's, you know you need to do something about that, man.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you say that one of my techniques that I did to deal with my cravings and my addiction was I got myself barred from the kebab shop, the pizza place. The local shop wouldn't serve me sweets, chocolate. I literally went in there and said, "Please don't serve me."
Good job.
And they're really good about it, you know, really good. But what was great about the kebab place I went to is that after a period of time, they says, "We can help you." So actually they created this special kebab for me.
Oh, really?
It was really low in fat. You know, it was grilled chicken. It was a thin tortilla wrap
with salad and
with salad and they got this special dressing in. It was like really low calorie.
Oh, nice.
I was like going, great. And it paid off because I was then like getting them every day off them.
Yeah.
But it was like, they said, "Oh, it's like, you would have like 600 calories and the protein in it was great."
Yeah. That's what I do when I go to my dad's place. That's what I do. But do you when you made that transition and you helped and you saw people kind of showing you support, because that's showing you support, right? Yeah. Did that give you more did it empower you more to do be better?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, so say 2017, I had that sort of breakdown, got some help, went over Anonymous, kept it secret as well because I was scared of failing. And I think that is the problem because, you know, Carmen met me when I was quite big, but she obviously seen me slim down and I kept sort of letting her down by putting weight back on and putting off. I realized I had a problem. I sort of hid the breakdown from her, hid all this down from her. And I kept the secret of Anonymous from her because I didn't want her going, you know, "Yeah, well, I don't believe you. You keep making these promises. You keep, you know."
Yeah.
I don't never say you let me down because she loves me regardless.
Yeah.
But what was really interesting was after that period of time, I met a new trainer who actually helped me with nutrition. The other guys, my PTs have always been good, great trainers. But Luke, who I met, he was great because we looked at nutrition. We looked at the whole plan, looked at almost an athlete's mindset, set ourselves the goal of a year to do a triathlon. And bearing in mind, I was like 26, 27 stone to do a triathlon in a year. It would have been, impossible.
Yeah.
But we did that. We looked at the mindset, we did a training plan.
That's
2018.
good.
Did
That's
a triathlon.
very good. That's very good from him. Like he's obviously he's periodized your training to get you ready for that, which is which also shows like you had a performance goal to keep you going.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Which is why it's so important for people to have those goals as well. When you were in London, where were you living? What gym were you at?
So I was lived in Borough. So I went to Soho Gym in Borough.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I think they've sold or they've changed but I used to go to Soho Gym in Borough.
Okay, amazing. And now you're living where?
Sandbach.
Okay, all
in
right,
Cheshire.
cool.
Yeah,
in Cheshire. Okay, amazing. What would you say to people? I know a lot of people that listen to this. I know there'll be a lot of people that are probably still in the position that you were in and probably can relate to you a lot with everything that you're saying.
Yeah.
What would you say to them like, because I know a lot of people, even I do this with certain things. I'll do it later. I'll get it done. I'll do it later. Boom. Yeah. Next minute, it's too fucking late. Someone's already done it, or what would you say to that person? Why should they start now? Why should they not? Because, it's Christmas time. We're all going to eat and all of that shit, which is fine. But I mean, you don't have to, right?
No, you don't have to. I think for me, and this comes straight out of Paul, right? You need to think about what's your why. Why are you going to do it?
Yeah.
And I think once you start to understand your why, and if the pain of doing it is less than the pain of staying set, you need to get past that pain. Because quite often people are quite big and they go, as you say, Christmas is coming. There's no point. I'm going to put weight on at Christmas. Well, actually, why do you need to put weight on at Christmas?
Exactly.
You don't actually have to. If you started walking now, if you started watching your calorie intake now, yes, you could. And if you know what your calorie intake needs to be, guess what you can do? For the week before Christmas, you could go 100 calories extra a day under your calorie. And then guess what? You've got a spare 700 calories.
Yeah. Exactly.
Or you go 200. And I thought, and if you only make it one day, why does Christmas have to be 4 days of blowout?
Yeah.
Can you make switches that mean instead of drinking, vodka and fat tonic, have slimline tonic?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're drinking wine, have a glass of water instead of every other glass of wine. There's lots of tips that mean you don't have to blow out.
I think there's loads of tips and there's loads of ways, and people know what they have to do. But it's number one, the level of accountability that they need, and number two, people are lazy.
Yeah.
And people get offended. Oh, you're lazy. Oh, you don't know nothing about me. I'm like, I don't need to know nothing about you. You're fucking lazy. Like you're lazy. You can go downstairs and get yourself a drink, or you can go downstairs and cook, but you choose not to. It's as simple as that. Yeah. If we all prioritize, I prioritize this podcast, so I made time for it, right? Yeah. I'm busy, but I made time for it because I wanted to hear this.
Yeah.
I didn't have to make time for it if I didn't want to, right? But I wanted to. That's because I didn't have a lazy approach to it. Yeah. But people need to get their mindset out of that to actually see some change, because I think what a lot of people are worried about is like that level of struggle. And I think you need to go through that struggle to actually, like accomplish something. Like you lost 100 fucking kilos, man. That's
and I think you're right, Dan. I think a lot of people need to be called out. Yeah. I think there's a bit more. There's all this, if somebody had called me out, I don't mean calling me a name, but just said, like the doctor did, he called me out. He says, you're going to die.
Yeah.
You're going to die. What are you going to do to stop yourself from dying?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think people get I say it's too easy to, I'll phone Uber Eats, or I'll do this, or there's no real effort. It's, as you say, it's about making priorities. And nobody has to, if you are, severely overweight, if you've got 5 stone, 10 stone to lose, then thinking about, I've got 10 stone to lose is ridiculous. Just think about, okay, at the end of this week, right, if I put the effort in, actually, I'm going to get results really quickly.
Yeah. 100%.
And, right, you don't have to use scales, right, to begin with. Just take photos. If you're scared of stepping on the scales, take a photo.
Yeah, take a photo, ask people, or maybe even step on a scale and get someone else to look at it, you know?
You don't have to scare yourself. You really don't. And I think but accountability as well. People have got to hold themselves accountable, and they've got to realize they've got to do the work.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, nobody's going to do it for them. Yeah, we could listen to your podcast, we could watch videos, we can download apps, we can do all that, but you got to do the work. And this is why I get a bit frustrated with people who think like surgery's the answer.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's not, because you haven't changed your mindset.
Your habits. You haven't changed your habits.
You haven't changed your habits. Haven't changed your mindset. All you're doing is making your body restrict yourself. So you're going to make yourself ill if you eat too much. So I'm going to train my brain, but actually I'm not, because if I haven't resolved the issue, it's not going to fix that thing. And I think for me, that's why I think it's important. I think, I've been really lucky. I've got people to hold me accountable. I've also changed my circle of people that I'm with, because if they're not serving me,
that makes a huge difference. 100%. Yeah.
And people are saying, like, I play rugby, right? And rugby culture, a lot of drinking, a lot of but my teammates were my biggest supporters, and they're not pressuring me to have a drink.
Yeah.
They understand. They quite like the fact that I don't drink, and I'm having a laugh with them, and I can still have the banter. I can tell you one thing, right? Some of the drinking games we have, I wish I did drink beer rather than Coke, because I tell you, after you've necked 3 pints of Diet Coke because you got caught drinking the wrong hand. It's as bad as drinking. It's even worse because you feel even sick.
But you know what? That's so good.
So I think I'm lucky, and getting that resource. So I use coaches. I've got Paul as a coach. I've got an accountability coach. I've got a trainer. I'm doing an Ironman triathlon in 2022. So I've got a coach for that.
Yeah.
Because
everyone needs coaches. Yeah. Everyone. Yeah. Anyone that doesn't matter if you're a coach already. Like, you need someone to kind of hold you accountable. And the great thing with your story is, like, sometimes I think people got to stop and think it's not, you're doing it for yourself, but it's not all about you. Like, you've got kids, right?
Yeah.
So
all grown up now, thankfully, but yeah.
Yeah, but like when they were younger, or people that are listening to this that do have kids, like, do you want to see your grandchildren? Do you want to have? Do you want to go? Do you want to be able to play in the playground with your kids?
Yeah. Absolutely.
All of that.
I can tell you now, Diren, I let my children down.
Oh, okay.
I know I let my children down because I didn't do the things that I should have done.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm saying to anybody now who's got kids, as you said, right, you're letting them down. You're also setting a bad example.
Yeah.
And I've set a bad example, because if you look at my children now, are all, they're overweight. Because guess what? I set a bad example to them.
Yeah. I understand that.
And I think you've got to remember, Uncle Morty says it all the time. Your kids are always watching. People are always watching what you're doing, right? And you've got to be an example to them.
Yeah, 100%. We're all influencers. We're all influencers. You got so many people around. And I'm so glad you said that, because I think sometimes I hold back about talking about kids. And although I know I'm smart enough to realize what influence is what, I think it's so much better coming from a dad that's experienced that to you telling people that, because I think it needs to be heard, and it needs to be applied in a proper manner, not only for yourself, but the people around you. We all have the power to influence, and I think we should all just use that in the right way. I mean, if we're all healthier, I mean, think of the pandemic, for example. Yeah. I know, like, obviously I know there's no guarantee if you're healthy, you won't get COVID or whatever it is. But with everything that we do, like, imagine like you being overweight when you were really overweight, your risk injury, the risk of all heart disease, all of that. As soon as you dropped weight and became in a more healthier version of yourself, it's like everything else around you works better, doesn't it? Like your relationships, your work, I bet you're 100 times more inspired. You're saying now you're becoming a coach, right? Yeah. Like, how good is that? You losing weight has made you transform into potentially doing something that you actually love.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. And that's the big thing, Diren. I think, my biggest challenge, my transformation, yes, you can say my body is transformed. My biggest transformation is actually from the neck up, in my head and my mindset. Yeah. Because if I hadn't have dealt with the mindset and all of that, I would just keep yo-yoing, because I can't have trained a bad diet, but now I can actually enjoy food. I don't restrict food. I don't, I still have things I want to enjoy, it's all about understanding the quantity you have, calories in, calories out, moving more. I know now that if I did want to eat a pizza, I make sure it's on a day I'm really active, because I'm not going to restrict myself. But, and I think, just a mindset thing. I've been fortunate this year. I've left my corporate job, which is great, but it wasn't until I was going to go into just executive coaching and consulting again. But no, I did a presentation to a group of guys, and I realized I had a passion, and I looked at my values, and I realized that actually what I value is I want to change people's lives. I've been there, I understand it, and I've got the tools and techniques. I've been very fortunate to work with some world-class coaches.
Yeah.
And I can share that, and I can help them, and I can be at that point of going, I've walked in those people's shoes, right? Yeah. So I can stand in the room and I can look at you and says, I know how you feel. I've been there.
Yeah.
And I can also show you that you can do something about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're going to share that with your experiences,
yeah,
right? With the experience that you've gone through, and show people, inspire people to do that.
Yeah.
That's great. And I think that's like a great point to finish on, actually.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming on.
No, thank you.
It's been great having you, and well fucking done.
Thank you, buddy.
100 kilos. That is amazing. Is there anything you'd like to say to everyone? Tell people where they can find your Instagram and everything. Tell them that.
Yeah. So you can find me at TibbettsBoy_100kg coach. You can find me out there. And if you want to know more about our programs, www.transform365.co.uk. And we've got an Instagram page as well, at ttransform365. But yeah, check us out. And I have a webinar coming on the 16th of December. If anyone wants to hear more about my story and my tips and tricks.
There you go.
Which they can find out if they go to 100kilogramcoach.com. They can find the page to register for the webinar.
Amazing. Okay, guys, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you share this fucking podcast. Yeah, I can see you guys. Go click that subscribe button. Peace and love, and I'll chat to you guys very soon.